What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 5, season 5 of the Monday Night Wars. I'm Chad Talks, and joining me, as always, is number 55, Jmack Gaming.
Why am I number 55?
Because that's it's the big 5-5, Justin. Episode 5, season 5.
It's the big 5-5, Chad? What do you mean by that?
Big 5-5.
What do you mean by that, Chad?
That's what I said.
All right, let's just get into it with that. We're here live in Boston, Massachusetts, the home of all the rats, including Brad Marchand. We're here. WWE presents Vengeance, the first SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view of the year. And, you know, this is one of my favorite shows of the year, Chad, because who doesn't love May? You know, may I offer you vengeance? Get it?
Yes, I get it.
Thanks, Chad. You are really, you got, the energy is rolling through you today. It used to be called Over the Edge, remember, back in the earlier days of the save. This was Over the Edge's spot. And we can go back and look at the previous years. Look at the history of the WWE so far. That includes Over the Edge 1999, where Owen Hart won his first and only World Heavyweight Championship by defeating The Rock. What a match that was. We saw Eddie Guerrero defeat Redacted. The American Heart.
Oh, right. Their chemistry's bad. Sorry, I was like, that got an 80? I forget their chemistry.
Yeah, they got bad chemistry. Sorry. Yep. Triple H defeated Biff. What a match that was. We saw Stasiak defeat Vince McMahon, Ace Steel over Taka. The next and final year of Over the Edge saw the debut of Future Shock's in-ring. Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, Mike Tyson. They defeated Stasiak, Austin, and Rock in the main event of Over the Edge. A match that propelled the careers of Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar. We saw Firehouse defeat the Stash and the Stud in the co-main. Wow, one of the co-main? What the fuck? in a two out of three fall match, we saw Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat. What a match that was. Triple H and Eddie went to a time limit draw for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. Mark Henry over Shamrock. We saw Mickie James win the inaugural Women's Championship over Aja Kong and Manami Toyota. Wow. Jesus. Haven't done anything, haven't capitalized off of that yet, have you, Mickie James? PJ Black over Test, and DX, Shawn Michaels and Bryan Danielson defeated Road Rage to win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. We go to the first ever SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view, if I remember right. Yes, I am correct. Vengeance 01, the main event. Psychosis over Eddie Guerrero. We saw Austin Steiner, Chavo and Latin Lover over Megan Barbarian, DDP over Roadkill, Daniels over Sabin, John Cena and La Parka. What a show that was. And last year, who could forget the massive Vengeance? Chris Daniels over Scotty 2 Hotty. Now friends, they fought last year. Hero and Harris over Hennig and DDP, the first ever tag match for the family. Steven Richards over Booker T. Goldberg over China. Goldberg over Steiner. He beat both of them. Latin Lover defeated John Cena to open the show. And if we go back to the main event, The Undertaker defeated John Cena. That's right. Stone Cold was famously fired going in to this show. I think he was fired that week, 6 days prior. This was on the fly. John Cena got the opportunity to fight for the World Heavyweight Championship. He got 100. He didn't get the job done. And what a show. Well, I mean, you got to give it to John Cena there. He stepped in when we needed him most, and he gave it his all. He just couldn't get it done. We also saw Masawa and Rene Dupree in the co-main event tonight, Chad. Do you think this is going to... Do you think tonight has the opportunity to be this massive, this legendary, like last year's Vengeance?
Hey, listen, I have no idea what you have prepared, but I mean...
Well, yeah, if you've noticed on the...
It's going to be a banger.
If you've noticed on the left-hand side...
Trying to ignore it. Ignore it.
Let's just get into the show, Chad. Let's get into the show. We start on our pre-show. We have 2 matches in store for us tonight, Chad. Lance Storm and Robbie Brookside. Lance Storm, a former member of WCW, is here and he's been wrestling very well. He's putting out some banger in-ring performances. You can tell on the screen right there. An 84, and on this opening pre-show match, he defeats new signee Robbie Brookside in 14:31. Lance Storm, man, what can I say? Just another member of WCW that has come over. It was just one of those guys that, don't have a lot of character to him, not a lot of charisma, but just can absolutely go. We'll have to find something interesting for Lance Storm to do other than just be a wrestler like he is, like a wrestler like Dean Malenko, because there's so many of those guys we have. We got to find something for Lance Storm to do.
You should make him a faction of just generic wrestlers.
Oh, that's fun. And our other pre-show main event, Chad, C.W. Anderson and Caprice Coleman. C.W. Anderson, the last couple weeks he cut a promo a couple weeks ago saying he's been unfulfilled here on SmackDown. That, if we even look back at November, which is now 7 months ago, he was part of that winning team at Survivor Series. He was the big guy at Royal Rumble just 4 months ago. He was in the Final Four. It came down to almost C.W. Anderson main eventing WrestleMania, and it just seems like his momentum's kind of plateaued or stalled since then. And he says he's got to right the ship again, and he says he's gonna take it into his own hands, and he's gonna get this momentum, this hot streak back on the winning Rays, and that starts. He's been on a roll on SmackDown the last couple weeks. And he's got a big match on the pre-show against Caprice Coleman, a big win here, Chad. And that is how we go into the main show. And we get our big fireworks. Welcome to Vengeance. And the first music you hear is Stone Cold Steve Austin is back. We just mentioned a year ago he was fired, and now a year later, he has made his return to the WWE. No one thought this was going to ever happen. It wasn't a wouldn't, it was a couldn't. He couldn't come back. He was fired, and now he makes his way down to the ring. Boston is absolutely losing their mind. Channing.
Imagine just starting a pay-per-view like that.
I wouldn't end it like that. Hint, hint, Survivor Series 2023.
Yeah.
Austin makes his...
Sorry, I spoiled that for you on accident.
Yeah, Chad, I was at a concert while Survivor Series was going on.
This is a fun story that I think should be told.
I'm at a concert. I talked to Chad. I said, hey, Chad, I'm not going to be able to watch Survivor Series live. Let's watch it when we get back. Just make sure to stay off your phone. Don't get spoiled. That's all I ask for, right? And he says, yeah, okay, good. I'm at the concert. I'm enjoying myself. I get a text about 20 minutes before the concert's over. Hey, I just got texted 3 times about a spoiler. Sorry, enjoy your concert. And I said, oh, so something's happening at Survivor Series, is it? And he says, no, just to finish. What? I mean, that is just telling me now I have something to look for. All right, I don't even know, Chad. I don't even know. You just had a lapse of judgment there.
I just think I had like a moment of just like my brain turned off and I was on autopilot, I think.
He said, not only am I spoiled now, I'm going to spoil the one man that asked politely to not be spoiled. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It's and then Survivor Series, because I didn't watch any of the lead up to it. Michael Cole says about 25 seconds in, hey, we're live from the Allstate Arena in Chicago, and I look at Chad. I said, oh, I wonder what the spoiler is going to be. Oh. And then Sami Zayn, 10 minutes into the show. Yeah, Randy Orton's not here. I wonder where he's at. Oh, I wonder what the spoiler is going to be. Yeah, Stone Cold is here, Chad. Stone Cold is here. He grabs a microphone, and I can't do a Stone Cold voice. I'm not going to lie.
I was going to say, why don't you give me a crack at it?
No, because I got a promo written down.
Hello, you
Hey,
sons of bitches.
what part of I have a... I'm not going to lie. I did look into Stone Cold AI voice just to do a promo. I thought that would be fun.
So funny. That'd be so funny.
Can't find one. I didn't put enough work into it finding one either. So whatever. But Stone Cold gets in the ring and he says, I missed you too. Hell yeah. And the fans are wild, and he gets a beer. He says, now let me address the elephant in the room. It's been a year since Stone Cold was last seen on this damn TV screen. And you want to know why? Because some jackasses in suits thought they could kick Stone Cold Steve Austin to the curb. Big boos from the Boston Garden here tonight. Yeah, that's right. They thought they could fire Stone Cold Steve Austin and keep the rattlesnake down. But let me tell you something, nah. Stone Cold don't stay down for long. Stone Cold Steve Austin is back to raise some hell. It ain't nobody in the goddamn locker room ain't gonna stop me. I don't care if you're the boss, the champ, or some sorry son of a bitch in the back. Stone Cold is back to stomp some mud holes and walk them dry. Stone Cold is back, and I'm fixing to open a can of whoop ass on anyone gets in my way. And if you like that, give me a hell yeah. And they give him a hell yeah, Chad, and his music starts playing again. Stone Cold is back, baby. What a start to Vengeance tonight, Chad. Did you think this was going to happen?
Oh, that's definitely not how I thought you were going to start a pay-per-view. That's sick.
Well, yeah, it's spicy, Chad. It's spicy. We start off, though, we move immediately to a recap of Dean Malenko.
Following this Scott Stud.
Dean Malenko and Scott Studd, our opening match here on WWE Vengeance. And let's look at the tail of the tape. Scott Studd, a fan favorite, I might say. He's been on a roll as of the last 6-7 months. He won the Devon Storm Invitational back in last December. What a win that was, really, for him and his friends. You know, Devon Storm, a.k.a. Crowbar, was a good friend of Scott Studd, and to win that really meant a lot to Scott Studd. And ever since then, his career's kind of been on an up and up. You know, he fought in the Rumble, had a great Rumble run. He fought in the Elimination Chamber. He had a stare down with Brock Lesnar in the chamber. He almost won the King of the Mountain just a couple months ago at WrestleMania. In April, though, he got drafted to SmackDown, right? He got drafted to a new show alongside Scott Vick and Major Stash. And for some reason, it was a lot earlier than the man he's facing right now, Dean Malenko. And that drew the ire of the veteran himself, because he's scratched and clawed for everything he's been given. And Scott Studd, he feels like Scott Studd's giving this little pity ride, right? His friend died. Whoopsie. Whoa, okay? Yeah, Dean Malenko's been an asshole this feud. He calls this new generation of punk, just not having to work hard for what they have. And Scott Studd, he did not take that kindly on an episode of SmackDown. He said, Dean Malenko, look, I respect you. I respected you. I must say, Dean, you were one of the most technically sound wrestlers of all time. Someone I grew up watching and idolizing when I was coming up in the business. I backstage in WCW would ask you all the time for tips and tricks and try to get my craft to where it needs to be. And you were so helpful. But now looking at you, it's kind of sad, Dean. It's kind of sad because my career's on the rise. I'm on the come up now, Dean, and yours, now that yours is in the mud, you think all these new kids are punks? You think they're just ignorant assholes? No, I worked just as hard as you, Dean Malenko, to get what I have. And just because you are scrounging together wins every once in a while and I'm in the main event of Elimination Chamber, I'm one of the last 10-5 guys at the Royal Rumble, I'm in the King of the Mountain, and you're watching at home, I didn't work as hard as you? No, Dean, I put all this adversity and I used it to my advantage, and I've scratched and clawed, and I'm where I'm at right now, Dean, is because of all the hard work I put in Okay? I will see you in the ring. I will see you at Vengeance. And I will kick your ass, Dean. And Dean, and the go-home of Friday Night SmackDown, beating Scott Fick, looked at the camera and just said, fuck your respect, kid. It's Dean Malenko. It's Scott Studd in our opening match chat. Who do you have?
I've got Scott Studd, baby.
Scott Studd. Well, these guys have a banger of a match chat, an absolute clinic. But in the end, the veteran Dean Malenko, using his tactics, using his experience, loses to Scott Studd in 16:59 by 94.
That Stud pulling up 82s is fucking insane.
Dude, I've been preaching this thread. You just got to give some people some wins over some big guys, and they start working. They start getting good. You gotta just pull the trigger on someone. And Scott Studd, you know, he may have not started getting wins over guys like, let's use your roster. It's not like he went in and beat CM Punk or The Rock at first. He went on a 7-match win streak. Guys like Orlando Jordan, a Major Stash, fucking Tony Hawk, little shitty boys. All right, you got to build them, and then you give them that big program to actually get them that in-game boost. And now look at Scott Studd on a roll. He's now 11-4 in 2003. He's got big wins now, a massive win over Dean Malenko. You know, the sky's the limit for Scott Studd. Really. I think the sky's the limit. World champion? Possibly. The people are asking. Dean Malenko, though, 93. Dean Malenko just can go. Dean Malenko is just a very solid wrestler. Someone I can always rely on to get a massive match. And Dean Malenko, shout out Dean Malenko. Backstage, though, Chad, the power trip of Kurt Angle and Triple H. I couldn't think of a better name for them. They arrived to the arena. They are in the main event tonight in tag team action, taking on the final bosses, Misawa and Shinya Hashimoto. What a match that will be, Chad. Are you looking forward to that match? Kurt Angle, Triple H, final bosses, tag team action?
I'm sure you'll explain it when they get to the match. But yeah, I'm excited for whatever this is.
We go backstage, and Kevin Kelly, who's still in shambles after being attacked last month, asks Cornette about Stone Cold Steve Austin returning, and asking Cornette, "Hey, does this? I mean, can Stone Cold could be the one to defeat Misawa? Misawa's never lost in the WWE in a year and a half." And Cornette says, I could give a rat's ass about the rattlesnake. No one is ever going to defeat the final boss Misawa. It could be Stone Cold. It could be Steve Austin. It could be the ringmaster. Hell, it could be Paul Heyman himself. It don't matter who gets in the ring with Misawa, because the end result is always going to be the same. It's going to be the referee and myself raising the final boss's hands up into the air. Now, Kevin Kelly, if you want to be, I don't know what I was going to say there. I was going to threaten Kevin Kelly again. I got out of character into me. I want to beat up Kevin Kelly.
Oh. What did Kevin Kelly ever do to you?
You know, he blocked me on Twitter.
Oh, that's fair.
I'm joking. I've never interacted with Kevin Kelly in my life. But up next, a storyline just called Respect. The anti-storyline of the last match. This one's all about respect. The Light Heavyweight Championship on the line. Johnny Storm and Tajiri Chad. Johnny Storm, tell me, what is your favorite in real life story and stat about Johnny Storm?
I have no idea.
Exactly. Johnny Storm has been one of the biggest surprises of this save. And let's be real, he has been. From a nobody, someone I didn't even know existed. Now I'm looking up YouTube highlights and cage match results from him. He's now a tag team champion in the save. He's now the current light heavyweight champion, a 2-time champion of someone that I don't know existed. Johnny Storm, if you remember, he won the light heavyweight championship all the way back in this November Survivor Series 2002 when he defeated former WCW World Heavyweight Champion Shannon Moore for the belt. Speaking of WCW, the man he's facing tonight, Tajiri, he's been on a roll as of late, right? He appeared at the 2003 WCW Cruiserweight Classic, making it to, if I can remember right, because I don't have your tournament bracket right in front of me, the semifinals, losing to Owen Hart. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That is correct. That run itself has awarded Tajiri with this title shot tonight, Chad. It's not a blood feud. These guys don't hate each other. This story is just two respectful dudes fighting each other for the light heavyweight championship. We even saw these two team up a couple weeks ago to defeat Supernova. Look, it's respect. It's Storm and Tajiri, two of the best we have in the light heavyweight division. Two of the guys who are on probably a good roll as of late. Both these guys. Who do you have?
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and pick Johnny Storm.
Johnny Storm. You think he's going to maintain the championship for his 7th straight month? The role itself is not enough. As the Cruiserweight Classic almost runner-up, Tajiri hits the brainbuster on Johnny Storm and wins in 13-11. This is Tajiri's first ever title in this save. A big win for Tajiri. And after the match, Johnny Storm, frustrated on his loss here, does not accept the handshake from Tajiri, Jen.
Oh,
that's not respectful. What a scumbag. What an absolute...
Yeah.
Whoa, you got really loud right there. Did you swallow your mic for a second?
No.
This storyline is going to make no sense when we get to it, but I love it. The Vince and Shane are here. They're pacing. Someone just commented on one of our videos. Actually, I can't bring that up because I don't think we've mentioned. I can't. We'll talk about it off air, chat. I don't think we've mentioned what's going on with this guy storyline wise for you, so I can't really. Maybe I'll text it to you, and then we'll talk about it later. But yeah, Vince and Shane, Chad. Let's turn this off. Vince and Shane are here tonight, Chad. Stephanie's life is on the line, as she was abducted a few weeks back by The Undertaker and Kane. Why? We're gonna have to get into that later. But Stephanie's is in the woods right now, and no one knows where she is other than Taker and Kane. It's later tonight. It's the Brothers of Destruction taking on the Black McMahon Dynasty for Stephanie's GPS location. Hell yeah. Let me.
They're fighting for their family.
Fighting for their family. There, I just sent it to you. I texted to you. We move on though, Chad. It's our third match of the night, and oh my God, Chad. Look at these scumfucks. What are they doing here, Chad?
Oh, wait a second.
The Bubba Ray and Devon, the Dudleys, are here in WWE and on SmackDown. Do you want to talk about that comment? That's so funny. They don't know. Bubba and Devon, they were, let's say, two of the biggest, I wouldn't say legends, but two of the biggest stars that you've had in WCW since the save, right? Since the beginning. They've been there. Well, they came over when you bought ECW in '98.
They they weren't there. They came right a little before I bought ECW. They came out when Tommy Dreamer, Sabu, the Dudleys, they all showed up at the same time when they were the XWO.
Well, this is kind of an XWO, legacy match here, Chad.
4 of them were there.
Yeah, that's the whole storyline of this match, Chad. Dudley's coming in, former 4 or 5-time WCW Tag Team Champions. They came in winning some, and some initial tag team matches is what I call them, defeating guys like Lance Hoyt and Ruckus and the team of Supernova. But in a few weeks into the run, they run into former ECW, WCW guys, Tommy Dreamer and Just Incredible, and they go back and they just start cracking beers and telling stories. Have a good old time telling stories about the good old days, right, Chad? And after the first SmackDown of this month in May, Tommy Dreamer and Justin Credible, they walk up to the Dudleys, who just came out of a great hardcore matchup with Nick Gage and Justice Payne. They said, hey, we missed that kind of shit. That brought us back. That made us feel like kids again, watching you guys beat the piss out of each other. And they said they challenged the Dudleys to a hardcore match just for good old time's sake, Chad. And that is what we're getting right here. Oh. It's the Devon Dudley. Nice. It's the Dudleys against I call them the ECW boys, Dreamer and Credible, in a hardcore tag team match. Who do you have?
I got the Dudley boys.
Yeah, I mean, Devon Dudley is injured, so this match will not be as good as you want it to be. But the Dudleys do defeat Dreamer and Credible in 11:50 when Bubba Ray Dudley hits the Dudley Death Drop through a flaming table on Tommy Dreamer to secure big win. What?
Even injured, Devon Dudley still did better than Justin Credible.
Well, I mean, Credible still getting a 64 isn't that ridiculous either, because what has Credible done in this save? Let's be real here.
He rescued a cat from a tree one time.
Oh, and then you fired him for it, I think.
I fired him off pretty quick after. I think I gave him a push for a little bit because of it.
What did you? Oh man, we'll dive deep into that later after this. A big win for the Dudleys here. What is your thoughts about the Dudleys being here in WWE, Chen?
I think it's one of those things where, the Dudley boys have done everything as a tag team I think that there was to do in WCW.
Yep.
I think this opens up big matches. I could definitely see one in particular that I would love to see on this save.
Well,
but yeah, I'm excited. It's a fresh new start for the Dudleys, and I think that's why they left. They wanted a fresh start, which I don't blame them. I look at it like when Chris Jericho left. It's not goodbye forever. It's just goodbye for now.
I mean, for sure. I mean, they've done everything in the tag division over there. They even got singles pushes, but they wanted, like you said, fresh matchups are over here. There's one, like you said, in particular. Probably, I mean, with the current roster setup, won't happen because they're on different brands. But you never know. Never say what.
I just remembered that. Yeah, probably.
Never say never, Hardys could come over. Yeah. A big win for the Dudleys, and then all four bloody men, they hug in the ring. It was a good callback from the good old days, right, Chad? The good old days.
Yeah, I hope they start an XWO reunion.
They won't.
I was gonna do an XWO reunion before they all left.
They won't. But up next, though, Chad, the real tag team match. This is a night of tag teams. There are 4.
Real tag team match? That's disrespectful.
There are 4 tag team matches on this card tonight. Half the matches tonight are tag team matches. This is our second one. And it is for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And I bet you didn't even remember that Brian Kendrick and Paul London were champs. I bet you didn't.
That's not true. I did remember.
When did they win those belts?
They won them at WrestleMania.
Against?
Well, I mean, I don't remember that because they're old news. This is the future. The future is now.
Well, that was a memorable match because they were the first team to ever defeat the final bosses, Chad.
Correct.
Gone are the days of Paul London looking for a partner. We spent months of Paul London on Monday Night Raw looking for a partner when Brian Kendrick came back and saved the day. And ever since then, Paul London and Brian Kendrick, they're great. They're great. They defeated the final bosses at WrestleMania, the first team to ever do that. And now, on the flip side of that, some people are calling that win a fluke. Can you believe that, Chad? Can you believe it? Oh, and those people would be named Danny and Doug Basham. After coming to SmackDown, who's yelling? Did you hear that yelling? Sorry, I just got thrown off by someone yelling in our apartment. Maintenance? Chad, go out.
Oh, okay, go right back.
I will run the show from here. And we have maintenance. All right, we get into our fourth matchup of the night. It's Paul London and Brian Kendrick against the Bashams, Chad. The SmackDown Tag Team Championships are on the line. Chad, gone are the days of Paul London looking for a partner, right? We're that storyline's over with. That was 6 months ago because Brian Kendrick came and saved the day, and now here are the days of this tag team that walked into WrestleMania as underdogs and beat the final bosses for those SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Now, some people, Chad, and I can't believe they're saying this. It's kind of disgusting to even think about. Some people have called that win a fluke. They're calling it a fluke. And those people would be named. Those people would be named Danny and Doug Basham. And after coming to SmackDown looking for a new breath of fresh air, the Bashams, they walked into April Week 2 SmackDown and they defeated La Resistance to become new #1 contenders for these tag team belts. And they didn't waste any time getting under the champ's skin because they called him a fraud. They called him Lay Mickey champs, Chad. And only I think I only think I would get that. They would call him. They even cheated in a matchup. It was Danny Basham against Paul London on an episode of SmackDown, and they cheated. They did the Brie Bella twin magic thing, and they got a Danny Basham quotations got a win over Paul London. But on the go home to this show, Chad, London and Kendrick were quick to remind that the Bashams are 0-3 in tag team title matches. They've never won. Every time they get a chance to win the tag team titles, they crumble under the pressure. Unlike Paul London and Brian Kendrick, who walked into the biggest show of them all and beat the biggest and baddest team of them all. So they would not only love to make the Bashams 0-4 in tag title matches, but they're going to prove at Vengeance that Mania was not a fluke. It's London and Kendrick. It's Danny and Doug Basham. SmackDown tag team titles are on the line. Chad, who do you got?
I got London and Kendrick, baby. You don't beat the final bosses and then not
lose. You don't lose the Bashams right after, Chad, and that is correct. London and Kendrick defeat the Bashams. When, though, Chad, Doug Basham was disqualified. It was a DQ finish here tonight. Doug Basham was intentionally DQ'd by continuously attacking Brian Kendrick outside of the ring and eventually hitting him with the chair and the SmackDown Tag Team titles. The Bashams just beat the piss out of London and Kendrick here tonight, Chad.
Wow.
Paul only got a 90.
I know, that's insane.
Again, you just gotta find those guys and give them a run. Backstage, Vince and Shane, PJ Black and Mark Henry here now. They reiterate to Black and Henry how much this match means. Do not fuck it up. Stephanie's life is in danger. That is our co-main, I think? Possibly. I think that is our co-main. No, it's our sixth match, because up next, Chad, it's the U.S. belt on the line. It's Stevie Richards and Chris Daniels. The championship is on the line. And how did we get here, Chad? How did we get to this SmackDown match? Let me tell you. U.S. champion Chris Daniels, at the draft, watched his mentor, his hero, his father figure, Jeff Jarrett, get drafted to Monday Night Raw. But on the flip side, on the bright side, on the positive side here, Scotty 2 Hotty, other Double J record member, is still here on Friday Night SmackDown with him. But that, Chad, that did not stop the family from attacking Chris Daniels the first chance they could get, because on the first SmackDown after the draft, Chris Daniels defeated Chris Harris, and then the lights went out. The lights go in the arena go out, and when they came back on, Richards, Harris, and Mike Sanders, they all were beating down Chris Daniels. They beat him to the living, like a bloody pulp, Chad. They beat him so bad you couldn't recognize him. His family didn't know who he was anymore. Scotty 2 Hotty, though. Scotty 2 Hotty was livid. He was not happy about this. Now, this feud has been going on for months, but Jeff Jarrett was there the whole time. Now, he's not here. And Scotty is pissed off, and Daniels is kind of the leader now. But Daniels tells him, hey, Scotty, patience. Patience. Their time will come. Scotty, though, let his anger get the best of him, Chad. He got he costed him and Daniels a tag team match in the main event of a Friday Night SmackDown against the Family. A match, I must add, where Chris Harris suffered a brain tumor in said match, and you tell me.
Jesus.
Yeah, you tell me. I don't know how you suffer that.
I'm trying to mute while the maintenance guy's still here in the back.
Oh, it's all good. I don't fucking care. Just turn your mic down a little bit then, and then turn it back up. I don't know why the goddamn my mic's not picking it up. Daniels and Scotty though would spend the next few weeks being mad and then apologizing. He said, she said, I love you, hate you kind of thing. But on the go home, Richards, he reminds them, hey, Chris, get it together because all of this comes to an end at Vengeance because it's just me and you in the ring. See you Sunday. It's Daniels and Richards. Chad, who do you got? U.S. Championship on the line. And Chad's gone.
I forgot I was muted. I got Christopher Daniels.
Chris Daniels to win on a back and forth match. The U.S. Championship on the line. Stevie Richards gets the win after Scotty Duhati tried to interfere, tried to hit Stevie Richards, but he moved out of the way and he hit Chris Daniels while the ref was down. And Stevie Richards hits a Stevie kick on Daniels and gets the job done. Stevie Richards is your new United States champion, Chad.
Good for Stevie Richards.
I mean, he's by himself now. The family is Chris Hero.
All on life support.
Chris Hero's on Raw. Mike Sanders broke his back on a house show, by the way, and Chris Harris suffered a brain tumor. So Stevie Richards is all alone, and he gets the job done over Chris Daniels, following Scotty Duhati fucking up and costing Daniels the match here, Chad. Yeah. Daniels and I put Daniels and Hottie. As they push each other. They kind of bicker at each other. Like, what the fuck is that about, Scotty? You cost me the damn match right here. Now, Chad, this is a match that who would have seen coming? It's a Stephanie McMahon GPS tracker on a pole match. It's PJ Black and Mark Henry taking on the Brothers of Destruction. And now, look, this isn't about, who's a good guy and who's a bad guy in this. And that's what Taker said a few weeks ago. He said PJ Black, Mark Henry, Vince, all that shit. He said, look, we watched for months, for years of you guys tormenting and bullying the locker room on Raw. And you guys will find out that karma, it's coming back to get you. And on the final episode of SmackDown going into May, we just saw a limo, and Stephanie McMahon's in the back of it, and she wakes up, and Taker just says, "Where to, Stephanie?" And they drive her off, Chad. They drive her off and dump her in a forest. No one's around. She's all alone. And they said, this is karma for all the pain and suffering you have spent doing to others of this WWE locker room. We're all family. Regardless if we don't like each other or not, we're all family. We're all wrestlers. We're all one. And you guys would you would haze the young rookies on Raw. You guys would bully them. You guys would make inappropriate remarks to the divas. You guys were awful human beings, and now it's time for your suffering. And that's where Vince and Shane, they said, look, Taker, I will fire you. And Taker and Kane said, look, we want to teach these fucking guys a lesson. And that's where this match has come down to, Chad. A Stephanie GPS on a pole. It's not on a pole, but her life is on the line here in this tag team match, Chad. PJ Black, Mark Henry against Taker and Kane. Something different. Again, I don't know if it makes sense, but we're here and we're doing it. Who do you got?
I dig it. I picked The Undertaker and Kane.
You think Stephanie's dead? You think I'm...
Yeah.
Well, Chad, you're right. Taker and Kane kill Stephanie when Taker pins PJ Black with a tombstone. Well, I already knew PJ Black and Mike Carney have zero chemistry, so don't look at the 69 and 61 those two got. But, yeah. Where does that leave Stephanie? I don't know. We didn't win the GPS match. We don't know where that leaves her, technically. She could be anywhere.
Could be. We just don't have the coordinates.
A video is shown of Stephanie McMahon. It looks like a fucking... it's a very disturbing video because she screams and then it goes dark. What's that about? I don't fucking know. I'm creeped out. This is fake.
If only we had the GPS coordinates.
If only they got it done. And now our co-main event, Chad. Christian Cage against Chris Jericho. Two members of the United Empire of Canada, the Ooses, going one-on-one with each other, Chad. And this all stems from Christian losing at WrestleMania. His frustration. We saw on Edge last month that he has gone off the deep end. Let's be honest. He's gone off the deep end. And I think the same is going on with Christian Cage. Jericho, through all of the United Empire of Canada's problems, has always been the mediator. Has always been trying to, like a neutral party. He's trying to calm everyone down, trying to keep the peace, trying to keep the glue together. He's been that guy through, Dylan Martin and Gabriel Burton taking on Edge and Christian. He's been through the Royal Rumble where he's trying to stop everyone from fighting. He's been through it now where Christian Cage kind of just turned his back on Jericho leading up to this match, Chad. Let me get my book. Sorry, I am all flustered because of the maintenance guy now. Chad, going into the SmackDown, Christian, he got a big win over Mystico. He beat C.W. Anderson, and Christian Cage with Jericho by his side through all of it just kept kind of disrespecting him, even after the match with it wasn't C.W. Anderson, sorry. It was what the fuck was it? It was not C.W. Anderson. I don't know why I wrote down C.W. Anderson. We can look at it later. Doesn't matter. Jericho, Christian Cage started beating him down. And Jericho just had to he tried to stop him, he tried to get in his own, hey, Christian, stop. And Christian just kept going. So he kind of just walked away from it. And that, Jericho's kind of just watching his best friend kind of lose it, kind of gone off the deep end. And Christian Cage in a tag team match a couple weeks ago in the main event, it was Christian and Jericho taking on Kurt Angle and Triple H. Christian just walked out on Jericho, costing him that match. And Jericho called out Christian Cage for his, being a piece of shit, basically. He said he's sick of the disrespect, and he calls out Christian Cage. And that has led us to this match, Chad. It's Christian Cage and Chris Jericho, former friends, now opponents here at Vengeance and our co-main event. Who do you got?
I've got Christian Cage.
Christian Cage. Chad, I was looking earlier. Chris Jericho's been in the Fed, and he has never won a belt so far. Is that crazy?
Yeah. He came up and then started teaming with Teddy Hart.
Yeah, so elevated Teddy Hart.
Exactly.
Christian Cage, though, defeats Chris Jericho in 22:07. A massive match, but Christian Cage slime ball tactics and beat his, I guess, former best friend, maybe former best friend, former stablemate, former friend, maybe not best friend. A massive match, but Christian Cage defeats him in 22:07. And Jericho looks upset with himself and with the situation at hand because Christian Cage just beat him in the middle of the ring with a roll-up. It doesn't matter. Jericho kind of vividly just frustrated with himself. Maybe and the situation with Christian and all of his friends, all of his stablemates, the Canadian Empire just kind of crumbling in the last 2 to 3 months. And now, backstage, Stone Cold has ran into Masawa, Chad. These two...
Oh, hell yeah.
No words are spoken, but these two just have a stare down of all ages, Chad. What a stare down this is. But that leads us to our main event because Masawa was by Gorilla. It's Masawa and Hashimoto, the final bosses, against Kurt Angle and Triple H. Look, I could go on and on for days. about the dominant force that is Misawa and Hashimoto and Cornette, the final bosses. But I don't have enough time in the world, all right? I would die before I would get over my love and affectionate passion for these two men. But Kurt Angle and Triple H, look, let's remember, they wrestled each other at WrestleMania, right? They have gone back and forth with each other for the last few months, going before that on Monday Night Raw, and they were both drafted 1 and 2 to Friday Night SmackDown. Kurt Angle 1, Triple H 2, and their rivalry hasn't stopped. All right, they still don't like each other, but now it's to the point of who is going to be the number one, who's going to fight Misawa for the belt, and Cornette and Misawa said, look, no one, I get it. No one that can lace up their boots and step in the ring could ever beat Misawa. And that, we got into Kurt Angle a couple weeks into April, taking on Shinya Hashimoto, where Triple H said to him right before, he said, "Don't embarrass yourself, kid." Kurt Angle would eventually go on and defeat Hashimoto. The next week, we saw at the end of the show, Final Bosses take out Kurt Angle. They beat his ass backstage, Chad, after the embarrassing act of losing to Kurt Angle. So they took him out. The following week, we saw the main event of Triple H taking on Hashimoto, where Triple H was he did win, and Kurt Angle saves Triple H from a beatdown. Kurt Angle saves Triple H, and that has led us to this match where these guys don't like each other, but they have a bigger enemy at hand, and it is a tag team match. Triple H and Kurt Angle in our main event, teaming up. The Power Trip is what I'm calling them, taking on Misawa and Hashimoto. Chad, who do you got?
I've got the Power Trip.
Well, Chad, they do win an unbelievable match here. Kurt Angle and Triple H win in 25-26 when Misawa pins Misawa. Kurt Angle pins Misawa with the Angle Slam. Angle pins Misawa. Write that down. That is Misawa's first ever loss in the WWE, Chad.
Huge.
First ever loss. First ever loss. Not in any other match. And the Power Trip celebrate because they handed Misawa his first ever loss in WWE. Think of Jey Uso when he pinned Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank earlier this year. Or last year, right? Last year. Giving Roman his first ever pinfall loss. That is the level what this was here. And that is how we end the show, Chad. A 98 here tonight.
Oh yeah, big show from Vengeance.
The door is open. They always say, Chad. The door is open.
98 is pretty good.
Stone Cold is back, Chad. Stone Cold. That's the biggest news of the night. And that's the news that the people in the dirt sheets, Sean Ross Sapp, he said this whole time, no, CM Punk, Stone Cold will never return. It just won't happen. I've talked to him over and over. And then he returns, and then he backpedaled on Twitter for the next 6 hours because dirt sheets are just idiot journalists that don't know nothing. Sorry, Meltzer, you're an idiot. All right, my shoot is over. We'll see you for Clash of the Champions. We're Chad. I know nothing going into this. This is the first time I will be surprised in the whole build-up. I don't know what happened on Nitro. I don't know what happened on Thunder, but I'm excited to be fully entertained and surprised during your show. We'll see you for Clash of the Champions. Chad, any final words? Any words of advice?
All right, everybody. We are here at Clash of Champions. You know what? We're coming off of a 98. Vengeance. Wow, my brain was having a relapse, Justin. I couldn't think of what I was trying to say.
A relapse? Well, is it all right? What did it relapse into?
I'm okay. I don't know if that was a relapse is the word I was looking for.
I don't think so either.
Seizure was the word I was looking for.
Chad, yeah. Clash of Champions, this is the 4th ever Clash of Champions in this save, and if you look at the screen right in front of me, it used to be called Slamboree, one of my favorite names for a pay-per-view, because it just sounds cool, Slamboree. We can run down the card a little bit. We had Slamboree open with Dean Malenko and Psychosis, China and Val Venus, just incredible beat Dreamer in Disco. Okay. Ray and Ultimo Dragon defeated the Hardys, Dudleys, and Homicide and Conan got a 44. Okay. The Storms of Justice defeated Billy Kidman and TCP. Mike Raven over Mike Awesome was the match of the night. Ric Flair over Randy, Goldberg, Sting, Hogan, and Steiner. And Chad said, I'm going to Clash of Champions next year. And it worked out for the best because every championship on the line, including last year where we saw titles on the pre-show. What a cowardly move, as Masahiro Chono and Tenzan defeated Too Cool to retain the global championships. China retained her 24/7 championship in a battle royal. Savage over Owen Hart and Kenta Kobashi. Oh, this is where Chad just jobbed out the Japanese guys. All right, Taz and DDP. Cutie Suzuki over Debbie Malenko. AJ over Shane Helms. Hart over Canyon. Stardust over Mick Foley. Best of Best over the Lodi and Sick Boy. Bubba, Devon, Steiner, RVD, Kevin Nash, Rey Mysterio. We won't go over the rest of the card in these next two because we can just look at the main events. Post show. Owen and Brett defeat Mike and Mike.
Retain the global championships.
Yeah, man, I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what you were cooking up there, brother, but I don't want any.
It was the only championship that was left off the card because I ran out of time, so I put it on the post show.
But good thing we had Brett and Eddie Colon on the fucking card. We saw the main event last year: Jericho, Mick Foley, and Joe versus Shamrock. And last year, Rock and Juventud and RVD, Rey Mysterio, and Shawn Michaels, Sabu, and CM Punk, Charles Wright. So, that's cool. That's cool. Man, it's a lot of the same people on every card. Holy shit. Just realized Debbie Malenko, I think, lost on every one of these cards.
Well, she won't lose on this card.
Spoilers! Let's get into the show.
She's not booked in a match.
Oh, my God. All right, Chad, tell me about the pre-show right here.
Okay, so the Idol has been, of course we are on the journey of the Idol, right? The Idol experience, as his manager Teddy Long has been calling him, and basically, on his little run to show that he is the most entertaining sports entertainer. He's being very clear that he's referring to himself as a sports entertainer here, not a pro wrestler. He wants to be an entertainer. Anyway, so here he is, and he was backstage doing karaoke. He was singing. He had a beautiful singing voice, and it wowed everybody. And then he busted out with an immense dance move, and everybody said, "Wow, that's like the second best dance moves of like everybody in the locker room." And Teddy Long and the Idol were like, second best. And then they see Too Cold Scorpio, who is a funky man and who knows how to break it down. And so basically, this feud has been the Idol and Too Cold Scorpio trying to out-entertain the other. There, and they even had a dance battle in the weeks leading up to this. And tonight on the pre-show, they go head to head. Justin,
I can't. Well, the match has already happened. The Idol won.
Yes, the Idol won when he hit the golden ticket.
Yeah. And we move on. Tell me about. Oh no, they've broken up.
So,
oh no.
Yeah, so the Hollies continue to lose matches, and Kali Holly, quite frankly, just got sick of it. After taking all he could take, he turned around after a loss and chopped Crash Holly, and Hardcore Holly was like, "What are you doing? Come on, man!" And then he chopped Hardcore Holly. Chopped them both, turned his back on his former Tough Enough coaches, two men who, helped him, who have helped him and been with him every step of the way so far in this company. And, the Hollies, they said, you know what, you need to have some tough love, all right? It's time we show you that we're the pros and you're the rookie. And they challenged Kali to a 2-on-1 handicap match, and an appreciate about that didn't have much heat and terrible wrestling. Kali Holly squashed the Hollies in 3:43 when Kali pinned Hardcore Holly with a brain chop.
Wow. That's next segment.
We we are backstage. The Flex Express, the group led by the group that Batista defeated Lex Luger at the last pay-per-view, and Lex Luger, he saw a lot of himself in Dave Batista. He says, "Listen, all right, I am the total cable package. All right, I know must-see TV when I see it, and you, Dave Batista, you are must-see TV." And then they've also developed a friendship with The Quiz, who has been interrupting random promo segments throughout the weeks leading up to this by saying, "I got a pop quiz," and then just saying some kind of like little riddle afterwards. But he's shredded, and which is why Lex Luger invited him to join the Flex Express. And they're backstage with Jacqueline and Jazz, who of course have had a little rivalry with two other women, Daphne and ODB, who I always have to call up every week, and I forgot to call her up, so she's not in this segment. However, they are ogling Dave Batista and The Quiz. And they're talking a lot of crap about, a girl like Daphne and ODB, that trailer park trash and that weird goth woman. They could never get people as good looking as Dave Batista and The Quiz. And the gentleman Chase Tatum and Sean O'Haire, they overheard this backstage, and they've heard enough, quite frankly. And so they said, you know what, let's see just how impressive they really are. You know what, they challenged the Flex Express to a tag team match right now, Justin.
Oh boy. Pre-show? I think it's in the pre-show. There's no way this is on the main card, right?
The pre-show, yeah. And in a decent match, Quiz and Dave Batista defeat the gentleman Chase Tatum and Sean O'Haire when Dave pinned Sean O'Haire with a sit-down powerbomb. During the match, Jacqueline Moore ran in and sprayed hairspray into the eyes of Chase Tatum.
How Chase Tatum has fallen off.
Which took him out of the action, of course. You could imagine.
This guy, man, came in on his debut less than 2 years ago and won the Royal Rumble, or not the Royal Rumble, the World War III, and 16 months later is jobbing out to hairspray on the pre-show.
He was jobbing out to Batista.
Well, no, he lost because Batista, of hairspray.
That's not true. Well, he lost to outside interference.
But Quiz is. Let's...
Listen,
and we can...
Let's some stars,
That's on the goddamn pre-show. There's no star making them here. Here we go.
Anyway, and then Justin, a big story. The Buried have been, using their numbers advantage.
God.
To retain the 24/7 championship, right? And finally, they're such a master of the numbers game that York decided to have themselves a good old-fashioned Buried Bunkhouse Stampede match. And and this was this was gonna be the 24/7 Buried Bunkhouse Stampede match. Justin, I've been watching some bunkhouse brawls and bunkhouse stampedes
on
YouTube and decided to run myself. I don't know, just for fun.
Okay.
And so there were a lot of people in this match. I'm just going to quickly go over the highlights. At one point, Jim Duggan ran through with a 2x4 yelling, "Ho!" as he was like swinging the 2x4 at people. The Vampires, the team of Gangrel and Drew Blood, were actually able to use some of their vampire hypnosis to make some people jump over the top rope. It was very impressive. Long Hallwell was there. But Justin, you read this correctly. Tara Verone and Nora Greenwald were in this match too, because the Buried Bunkhouse Stampede match is open to anyone. Truly anyone could show up to the Buried Bunkhouse Stampede. Of course, since the Buried were all there, of course, that meant Homicide, A-Train, and Champagne were there, because of course they are on the quest to find Low D. Super Eric and Shark Boy were all there as well. Justin, at the end of the day, Final four came down to TJ Wilson, York, Tara, and I believe
Homicide, it says
York,
on the
TJ Wilson,
screen.
Homicide in York. Yeah, I was trying to find it, Justin. Anyway, so yeah, that was the final four. TJ and York were able to use their little numbers games to eliminate Homicide. But Justin, all of a sudden, a returning Bobby Roode, who has missed about a month of action due to the heinous attack he faced due to the Buried, he showed up and he eliminated TJ Wilson. And then York, while being distracted, turns around, eliminated by the head bitch in charge, Tara Verone. And Tara Verone wins the 24/7 championship. That's our pre-show main event, Justin.
Yeah, it's always that's fine. Yeah, a weird debut for on the save of Drew Blood and Gangrel to have them here, but I mean,
well, they've debuted and they've been on TV.
There's a difference between I get that, but like showcasing it to the save itself is.
Here they are. They got a little spot where they use their vampire hypnotism to make people jump over the top rope.
Yeah, just a weird. I don't know, man. Achilles and Perry Saturn being in this is weird, but I mean, gotta fill the ring somehow, right? All right.
And here we go. Clash of Champions hosted by Shaquille O'Neal. We are live from the Staples Center. Which of these champions, as you see here, are going to retain their championships? Of course, we've got Rey Mysterio taking on Raven. We got The Rock versus CM Punk. We've got the Hearts versus the Hardys. We got Fit Finlay versus the Hurricane. We got the Big Guns, Big Show and Billy, taking on Low Shapes, taking on the FBI. We got Michinoku versus Taz, AJ versus James Storm, and much, much more. This Clash of Champions begins now. And Justin, the host of Clash of Champions, comes down to the ring. Shaquille O'Neal is here. And he's like, what's poppin', LA? And everyone loses it because they all love Shaq. And he's like, yo, when they asked if the Big Diesel wanted to be the big host of Clash of Champions, I just had to do it. Starrcade was so much fun, and I've missed it. I've missed being in front of all of you here. And of course, anytime I have an opportunity to party in LA, I'm gonna. And everyone's going nuts. He's like, listen, we've got a huge show tonight. We got a lot in store. And while he's talking, he's interrupted by the fake NWO of Horace Hogan, Fake Hall, and Fake Nash. Horace Hogan, of course, turned on Hollywood Hogan on the leaks leading up to this event and has sided with Fake Hall and Fake Nash. And he says, Shaquille O'Neal, just like my uncle Hollywood Hogan, you're overrated. See, just like Hollywood Hogan would be nothing without the NWO, and he points to the fake NWO. You'd be nothing without your Los Angeles Lakers. You'd be nothing without Kobe Bryant. Right? So, these people, they didn't come to see you. They came to see who's been running WCW for the last, I don't know, forever, the NWO. And they all too sweet each other. And Shaquille O'Neal, he's like, you know what? Horace Hogan, these people don't care about what you have to say. Am I right, LA? And everyone cheers and go, do you want to see these three clowns get their asses kicked, LA? And they're hyped. They're losing. He's like, well, good, because I know three guys who would love to fight you in LA. And now, Justin, this starts our first match of the night because Hollywood Hogan, who betrayed by his nephew, Horace Hogan, seeked back. And Hollywood Hulk Hogan, he admitted, not a lot of people like the Hulkster backstage, so, but Sable, who's the manager of the new Harris twins, said, this could be the star-making opportunity. You see, she tells the Harris twins, it's being successful is all about taking advantage of an opportunity. And there's no bigger opportunity than teaming with Hollywood Hulk Hogan. So so the Harris twins agree they will fight alongside Hollywood Hogan, which brings us to our opening contest tonight. The fake NWO, Fake Hall, Fake Nash, and Horace Hogan taking on Hollywood Hogan and the Harris twins. Justin, who do you got?
Hogan and the Harris twins, brother. Come on now.
That is not a bad call. Well, you know what?
And
And
the
they
Harris
agreed.
twins, they're celebrating they have already won this match because the match is right here.
Right here. Hogan and the Harris twins defeat Fake Hall, Fake Nash, and Horace Hogan. After the match,
After the match, there is no after the
Hero.
match. This is after the match.
That was that post segment where they're all posing, and then Shaq and Hollywood Hogan rip off their jerseys. Shaq actually is wearing a Shaq Mania jersey while this is happening. It's very fun.
It happened before the match. It looked like.
And we're whatever. Anyway, we have Taz Michinoku rematch for the Cruiserweight Championship. Now Taz was of course screwed out of the Cruiserweight Championship when Michinoku had he's calling them his disciples of Funaki and Dragon Kid. They interfered and they cost Taz the match. And now Great Sasuke, he's been telling Taka Michinoku, you know, a man that he once considered a friend and someone he respected, someone who always held himself with integrity. And he said, you know what? He said, you know, I always knew, you know, when you were teaming around with Minoru Suzuki, you picked up some negative traits, but relying on other people to fight your battles, you call yourself a warrior. You pride yourself on being this competitor, and you're gonna cheat? That's just not right, Taka Michinoku. And he said, I don't know who Taka is. He says, I'm Michinoku. He said, and I didn't need Dragon Kid or Funaki to interfere. Just like I don't need to sit here and listen to you tell me how to be a champion. Talk to me when you're a champion, Great Sasuke. And Taz, you know, he tells Great Sasuke, you know, not for nothing, thanks, but like I don't need you to fight my battles for me. I can handle this myself. And so Taz has been trying to get his hands on Michinoku, Funaki, and Dragon Kid, but they just continue to elude him. And now, Justin, which brings us to here, Taz versus Michinoku. Taz vows to not only get back his Cruiserweight Championship, but he vows to embarrass Michinoku like he embarrassed him at the last pay-per-view. Taz versus Michinoku for the Cruiserweight title. Who do you got?
I got Michinoku. I feel like Taz, whenever he's going for the Cruiserweight Championship, the champion just runs away the whole time. It happened with Matt Hardy.
It is a funny coincidence.
Happened with Matt Hardy. Now he's going over for Taka, and Taka's just running away from him. I got Michinoku. Yeah, I didn't need to.
And about to have great wrestling and good heat. Michinoku defeated Taz in 1554 with a Michinoku driver. Following interference from Funaki, Michinoku makes defense number 2 of the WCW Cruiserweight title.
Now give me Taz and Funaki next pay-per-view. Don't give it to me on Nitro. Give it to me on the pay-per-view. I need to see Taz rip that kid's arms off. Let's move. Oh, here we go. Speaking of ripping her arms off.
Of course, Nicole Bass, a woman who was, you know, not successful in capturing the women's championship from Beth Phoenix. In the weeks building up to this pay-per-view, Nicole Bass, you know, they asked her backstage, Nicole Bass, do you have what it takes to be a women's champion? People are starting to question your former women's championship run. And Nicole Bass, she said, you know, I won't be disrespected anymore, and I'm going to prove to you people just how threatening I can be. And then, Justin, she attacked Beth Phoenix backstage. Not just any backstage, though. She ran her over, Justin. She ran her over with a motorcycle as she was leaving the arena. It was a hit and run as she drove away on her motorcycle. The next week, Beth Phoenix ran at her with a steel chair in hand. We're gonna go to blows, Justin. These two were going to blows. Nicole Bass ran through the crowd to escape Beth Phoenix, and Beth Phoenix challenged Nicole Bass to a match where no one could run away. No shenanigans. She challenged Nicole Bass to a steel cage match. We get Beth Phoenix versus Nicole Bass in a steel cage. Or sorry, no, not a steel cage. I lied to you. It was not a steel cage. I was a steel cage originally. I changed my notes because Nicole Bass in the run up to this during the contract signing, power bombed Beth Phoenix through the table, and Beth Phoenix actually challenged her to a tables match. So we got Beth Phoenix versus Nicole Bass in a tables match for the women's championship.
Beth Phoenix, she cashed in, and this Nicole Bass feud is just filler for right now. I think I don't view Nicole Bass as a credible opponent. She might. I view her as a criminal, actually, on the lead up, as she did a hit and run and never got arrested for it. Obviously, it's happened in real life where you do the hit and run storyline, but you never know. They spent 6 months trying to find out who the driver was. It seems like it was plain and simple, Nicole Bass. Where are the cops to arrest Nicole Bass? These are the questions that need to be answered, and I think a well-respected Christian man like you would not put the belt on a criminal like Nicole Bass, and that is my reasoning for Beth Phoenix to win this match here, Chad.
Nice.
Cool, okay.
Well, I gotta tell you, it was a hard-hitting, violent match. These two went at it. They brawled. Justin, and about that had decent reaction from the crowd at Sub Power Wrestling. Beth Phoenix defeated Nicole Bass in a tables match when Nicole Bass was simply just put through the table. Beth Phoenix makes defense number 2 of the WCW Women's Championship. Bobby Roode, he's interviewed after showing up on the pre-show. He's back, and he says, I've missed over a month of action on the shelf. He was like, and it was all because of the Buried. You see, the Buried have been hiding behind numbers, and everyone's been trying to stop them, but people haven't been successful. Well, don't worry, because Bobby Roode is back, and I got some people to bury.
All right. I mean, he said 1 month off the shelf like he was gone for a year. You missed 4 shows, brother. Cool it.
It might have been actually 2 months, but regardless, Justin, we have here the Hardy Boys are here, and you know they were in the ring on the weeks building up to the show. The Hardys were talking about how, you know, these two they've fought each other because just like brothers fight, but they're also the same 2 kids who grew up dreaming of being professional wrestlers together. You know, they started their own company called the Omega Championship Wrestling Company when they were kids. And even though that's not around anymore, 2 of them, you know, they made bonds and friendships that could never be broken. And they go, and so when Jeff Hardy was in rehab, he was learning about when he was trying to make amends for the mistakes he made. You know, not only did he cost himself time away from his career, he did something worse. He disappointed his family. And even though the rest of Jeff's family stopped talking to him, Matt reached out. Matt was there. And so Jeff told himself, when I came back to WCW, I needed to pay it back. And I need to show my brother that I'm here for him. And that's why the Hardy Boys are back. And we are here to win the tag team titles. And Bret and Owen Hart show up to the ring and they got the tag team titles. And they're like, we don't care about what you were doing. All right, listen, Owen Hart went to the finals of the Cruiserweight Classic. He put some respect on the Hart name. All right, and me, I'm Bret Hart. I'm always the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. You want to come here and you want to talk about tag team championships? You haven't earned it. And so that was the weeks building up were the quest to the #1 contendership. They beat Truth or Chairs. They beat the Quick City Kingpins. And in a #1 contenders match for the tag team titles, the Hardy Boys picked up a big win, where they fought 4 other tag teams in an elimination match. The Hardys won their #1 contenders match. And the Hards said, you know what? You've won your spot at the tag team championships, but you haven't been able. You might have won the match, but you didn't get to pick the stipulation. And Bret Hart, he said, I don't know if you know this about Roddy Piper, but he's a good personal friend of mine. And I asked them for an opportunity to really test and see what you guys have. Because, you know, there's no question you two are high-flying athletes. Let's see where you stand in a technical match against me and my brother. Brother versus brothers, families versus families, the Hardys versus the Harts for the tag team titles in a submissions match.
Ooh, how does that work in tag action?
First person to score a submission wins.
Has that ever happened in real life?
I gotta tell you, Justin, I don't know. That's why I thought it'd be fun. So it's tornado tag rules, no countouts. They're brawling all over the place, Justin. They're fighting Bret and Owen Hart, of course. They try to go for an early submission, but of course, you know, Jeff is able to get to break the pinfall. And Justin, this match, it went on for a while. Jeff and Matt Hardy were able to show off, you know, that they have a technical side to them. But there was one particular spot where it was clear that Owen Hart he hurt his leg in one of the matches, and Matt Hardy, he made it his mission to attack the leg. And Bret Hart, while he was recovering from a twist of fate, Matt Hardy grabbed Owen Hart and you put him in a leg lock. But while they were worried about Owen Hart, he was like, I'm not tapping. The charismatic enigma, he climbed a ladder and he does a swanton bomb onto the leg of Owen Hart, Justin. Was it enough?
Jesus Christ.
Was it enough for Owen Hart to tap out?
I don't know. You tell me.
It was not, because Bret Hart from the dead was able to make the save. They went back and forth. Eventually, it spills back into the ring. Jeff Hardy, he goes for another swanton bomb, but Owen Hart, he rolls out of the way, and it cost them, because while Jeff Hardy, you know, high risk, high reward, Matt Hardy, who refusing to tap out, passes out from the pain as the Harts retain the tag team titles.
There you go. There you go.
Once again, putting some respect on the Hart family name.
I mean, yeah, after losing at Starrcade, the biggest show of the year, to the fucking Harris twins, they need that. And this is a good step in the right direction for Bret and Owen Hart in putting some legitimacy behind them being the best there is, and best there ever will be.
Went back and forth on that, but I made a decision last minute to put. Well, actually, it wasn't last minute. I decided like 2 days ago that the Harts were going to win, because originally the Hardys were going to. Justin, we have here. Speaking of tag team titles, we have our other tag team titles are on the line tonight. The Nitro tag team titles. Now, of course, Octagon and Pentagon, a team I've dubbed Los Shapes. They have been picking up momentum in the last few weeks, getting big tag team victories. And, you know, Big Show and Billy, you know, they were impressed. And Big Show, you know, he said, you know, after we won against the Paul Heyman guys, he was like, you know, it's only fitting that we move on now, and we find opponents to defend these tag team championships. And we've been really impressed by you, Los Shapes. So we are challenging you two for an opportunity to try to take our tag team titles, because you two may be a credible tag team. You two may be on the same page. You two may be very athletic and very talented, but you are not the big guns. And while this is happening, you know, around behind the scenes, lurking in the shadows, the FBI have been planning their next move. Of course, they were not successful in their battle against the Shamrock Academy and Shawn Michaels and Kendo Cashin. So they had to regroup, and they decided what better way to regroup than to send a message. So while Los Shapes were in a tag team match, and the big guns were on commentary, the FBI came in and jumped both Billy and Big Show while they were on commentary, caught them off guard, and then get into the ring, and they attacked Los Shapes, upsetting both teams, agreeing to make it a triple threat match, because both of these teams want some payback against the FBI. But the FBI were able to capitalize on an angry giant's rage and slithered themselves into a tag team match. And in the weeks building up to it, Tony Mamaluke has a pinfall victory over one half of the tag team champions. Justin, can you guess which one he has a pinfall victory over?
You don't need to do that.
Of course, he pinned Billy.
Yeah.
Tony Mamaluke pinned Billy in the weeks leading up to this. Brings us to this point, Justin. We've got a triple threat tag team title match. The Big Guns versus Low Shapes versus the FBI. Justin, who do you got?
It'd be cool to put it on the FBI, but it's going to be Big Show and Billy. It's going to be Big Show and Billy. They didn't win that tag fucking battle bowl for nothing. Yeah.
Interesting. And in a decent match, the Big Guns defeat Low Shapes and Tony Mamaluke and Johnny Stamboli in 15-24. They went OG FBI for this match. The order of elimination was Tony Mamaluke and Johnny Stamboli and then Low Shapes. It was not supposed to. It does that. It was not. I don't care what that says. It was not an elimination match. The Big Guns get the win. Retain their tag team titles.
Hey, don't argue with me. Don't argue with the game. Argue with the game.
I don't think I was arguing. Was I arguing?
It sounded like it, guys. It sounded like it.
Paul Heyman is in the ring. Or, sorry, he's backstage. He's got tears in his eyes. He says, invited you in to the Paul Heyman guys because I looked you like a son. You know, ECW, it's no secret, was a very special part of my life. I got to work with some incredible superstars, or incredible wrestlers. Tommy Dreamer, Sabu, the Dudley Boys, to name a few. But none were more impressive than Rob Van Dam. That kid was a star. And when WCW bought ECW, everybody couldn't wait for Rob Van Dam to wrestle here. And I was excited because I got to see a man that I've grown to respect and love like a son take that next step and become a star. And every single time he would get in his way. He got injured before World War III. He won the world title even. Lost in the big main event match at Starrcade. And now here we go. Mr. Money in the Bank. And I told him he had an opportunity to overcome a group that was not only putting his friends on the shelf, but was putting my friends on the shelf. People that I helped build a legacy for. Wicked. Picking out those hardcore icons. It made me sick. And so I told Rob Van Dam, if you just let me help you, let the Paul Heyman guys help you, we can revenge your friends and also put you on the path to greatness. Rob Van Dam looked me in the eyes. Grudgingly, he said, I'm not a Paul Heyman guy. But I am an ECW guy. Let's do it. And so here we have it tonight for the 6-man trios title. The Wicked, Relic, Mil Muertes, and Abyss. A man who has never been pinned in singles action on Nitro. And a man who has a pinfall victory over Big Daddy V and Minoru Suzuki, proving his dominance, proving how big of a monster he is. Finally, we're in an opportunity to destroy a monster. What do you do, Rob? Huh? What do you do? Get suspended. Because you just couldn't stay off the juice, could you, Rob? You just couldn't get out of your own way. This isn't me trying to make you feel bad, Rob. This is me pleading with my friend. Please, serve the suspension, learn, and come back to WCW and let me help you. Join the Paul Heyman guys. And I promise, you'll be a star. You won't just be a star, Rob. No, will be the whole effing show. Yeah, Rob Van Dam got busted for steroids, everybody. And he's gone for a month.
Yep, that he is. Just couldn't stay off the juice. That's the WCW way.
What do you think of that? What do you think of that promo, Justin? What do you think of using it as an angle?
It's good.
But Justin, we have the television championship on the line. AJ Styles, he was talking about how Clash of Champions, an opportunity to defend his television championship, and he has an entire locker room full of hungry competitors, and he's interrupted. Justin, he's interrupted by a man who is the face of Miller Lite, James Storm. He comes out to the ring with his Miller Lite bottle in hand, and he says, AJ, there's a lot of people in the back who are hungry to challenge you, but there ain't nobody more hungry than James Storm. Now listen, this isn't just me challenging you to a match at Clash of Champions for the TV title. This is me challenging you to the biggest match of my career. And AJ Styles, he's like, listen, I am all for accepting a challenge. I'm a fighting champion. I'll take on all comers, but I want you to realize, James Storm, just who you're in the ring with. This is the biggest opportunity for you. If you win this match, you could be a star, but if you lose to AJ Styles, everyone's going to say the kid just wasn't ready. And James Storm took offense to that, Justin. In a tag team match later on that night, AJ Styles versus AJ Styles and Sting, They had the victory robbed from them when James Storm, with a Miller Lite bottle, bashed it over the head of Sting. Set up on the go home. Sting versus James Storm, and James Storm won. It was the final nail in the coffin because AJ Styles, he had enough. He couldn't allow somebody to bash that beer bottle over his friend, his mentor, his manager, and his friend Sting. Justin, he says that at Clash of Champions, it's personal. AJ Styles versus James Storm for the television title. Who do you got?
AJ Styles.
And well, you know what? You are correct to think that because, yes, AJ Styles did defeat James Storm in 15-18 with a Styles Clash.
Did you want me to go into why I thought AJ Styles was going to win?
Sure, if you would like to.
Okay. Again, this is another classic tale of a guy that we have not really seen in WCW getting a title shot. There's nothing wrong with that, but I have no personal reason to believe that James Storm would just come in here on one of my first sightings of the kid and defeat him. Well, I mean, he probably had a great match with him. Probably had a good fight, but there is no reason for me to believe. Just because he beat Old Man Sting, that he would beat Styles here.
He's been on a roll, picking up big wins here and there, becoming the fastest rising star in WCW, and this was his first test to really turn some heads, but they don't call him the phenomenal one for nothing. AJ Styles, he's the man. What can I say?
Yeah. I guess I don't watch the TV shows, so I guess I don't know who James Storm is beating every week, but fair enough.
I don't have it handy, and I don't want to make you go through the show history, but
I will.
I'll recap the past of. I'm saying it for the audience. I'll recap.
Too late.
Or we can do it now if you want.
Too late. I'm already here. It's easier to do it like this anyway. Sting, Perry Saturn, Nick Dinsmore, Quiz, Dan Severn, Bam Bam. I mean, it's 13-0, but
it's 13-0.
I mean, the only win he has is Sting.
I mean, Chris Candido.
Yeah, but that's a fatal four-way. Did he actually pin Candido, or did he pin Brian Clark?
No, actually, if you look, he did pin Chris Candido.
It doesn't say.
Oh yeah, no, because that was the number one contenders four-way, and he did.
That's the number one contenders match. That didn't help your case there.
It wasn't really a number one contenders match, but
now I don't believe you.
And challenge AJ Styles.
Yeah, that's fair, but again, he's getting his wins, but at the same time, he's like I said, this is the first time I have seen him on pay-per-view. So, as a first-time seer, You gotta understand that I have no personal reason to believe. It'd be like having a guy from NXT come up and challenge someone for a title. Probably give him a good run, but do I actually have that thought and belief that he will win? Probably not. But that's just the first layer of the beginning of James Storm.
This is also the first layer of this story. Perhaps, who knows? And Justin, we have here, of course, Fit Finlay.
Oh yeah, sorry to interrupt again. James Storm did get hurt in that match.
Oh, how bad is it?
Slipped disc. So I don't know.
Okay, hopefully not too long. Fit Finlay, of course, with some shenanigans from Team Ray when they were all feuding, was able to beat Big Daddy V and win the U.S. Championship with Canyon at his side, his frenemy, his best frenemy. And everybody, and Fit Finlay, he said he came out here and he said, winning the United States Championship was a dream come true. He says, he has sat around WCW for a long time, trying to accomplish his dream of being a champion. And finally he stands here, the United States champion. But when you accomplish one goal, one dream, you have to have another one. You have to have another dream, another goal. And he says, and my goal, my dream is to main event Great American Bash as the United States champion. I've always wanted to be the man. I've always wanted to main event a pay-per-view, proof that I belong. And you know what? I may be old, but this old dog, he's got a fight. He's got some fight in him. Finlay loves tough fight. And the Hurricane shows up. And the Hurricane, who was on the winning team of that 5-on-5 match, he tells Fit Finlay how, he has also been trying to accomplish his dream of winning of winning world championship gold. And he said, and listen, he came up short many times against Ray, against Shawn Michaels. Ever since he embraced his inner Hurricane again, he's slowly becoming himself again. And he says, you know what, I want to test myself to see where I'm at. And so I want to see if I have what it takes to defeat you. And so, Justin, this is what it comes down to. Fit Finlay versus the Hurricane. This is kind of similar to your story you were running. These two men, they're not really bitter foes, but they but they respect one another, and that's a big test for both of them.
Yeah.
Finlay versus the Hurricane for the U.S. Championship.
Yeah, yeah.
Justin,
I would have said Finlay. It wasn't. Yeah, again, why would I? Yeah. Finlay's just on a run.
Big Daddy V. You can't have him beat Big Daddy V and then lose in his first title defense. I guess his second title defense, I should say. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Finlay retains in 1431 against the Hurricane.
Hurricane's just the king of losing matches for the titles, so that's also why I think. I mean,
he's just he just turned his style of wrestling into a comedy style. So
yeah.
Who knows? Maybe we'll get some comedy matches.
Oh, then yeah, definitely not putting the fucking title on Mr. Dancy Dance.
Mr. Dancy Dance. Justin, don't adjust your television sets. Stone Cold ain't the only person who's back. Justin, Juventud Guerrera, he called upon his friend Psychosis.
Jesus, yeah, what the dude, Psychosis and Steiner are showing up out of nowhere.
Yeah. Psychosis is back, Justin. Psychosis came and his promo for coming back, we cut to the video package. He says,
oh boy.
First of all, he started off by saying, God, it's good to be back. And of course, everybody cheers. And he says, I came back for one reason. I came back because there was a guy who was running his mouth, trying to take credit for something that he shouldn't. See, in his promo, he says that he took offense, Justin, to Bobby Eaton running around here with his Eaton empire to take credit, trying to latch on to the success that Psychosis and Juventud provided him. He says, yes, you were the manager, but we were the ones that wrestled those matches. He says, and, Juventud Guerrera, there were a lot of people that he has become friends with And there are a lot of people that have turned his back on him in this industry. Juventud and Psychosis, they have had their blood feuds. At the end of the day, he's always respected Juventud Guerrera. And he respects his luchador culture. And you know, it's a bond that's thicker than anything that Bobby Eaton ever thought he had. Bobby Eaton, he took offense to that. And at that night, Ace Steel and Booker T challenged Juventud and it wasn't Ace Steel, because Ace Steel's hurt. So Booker T called upon his old brother Stevie Ray, Justin, and we got Harlem Heat versus Juventud and Psychosis in a tag team match. And of course, come on, Psychosis isn't going to lose his first match back in WCW. They pick up the win. Justin Booker T fought Psychosis the very next week, and Psychosis beat Booker. It looked like finally the tides were turning for Juventud against the Eaton Empire. And then Eaton said, Psychosis was a wild card. Let me introduce you to my secret weapon. Justin, the secret weapon, Scott Steiner, he returned to WCW, and Booker T and Scott Steiner in a tag team match against Juventud and Psychosis picked up the win. Scott Steiner has potentially once again turned the tide with his secret weapon. And it was advertised that tonight we would have an episode of Steiner Shoots at Clash of Champions. But Justin, it's a different set than what we're used to, because the ring is pink and the ropes are fuzzy. And ladies and gentlemen, Debbie Malenko and Trish Stratus are here, and we have an episode of the most the hottest, the most exciting, the sexiest show in all of WCW, the Bad Girls Club, Debbie Malenko and Trish Stratus, and they're here, and they said, welcome to the Bad Girls Club, LA. It's about to get even hotter. And while they're, cutting their promo, Scott Steiner's music comes out. And he gets in the ring and he says, I don't know what the hell is going on with all this pink and all this. It looks like Hulk Hogan's boas all over the ring. I hate it. And he picks up the set and he throws it out. He says, ladies and gentlemen, this is Steiner Shoots. And everyone loses it. And he says, but don't worry, if you two ladies want to hang out with the big bad booty daddy after the show, I'll be around. And then he says, but of course, and he holds up his finger and says, but of course, I need everyone to remember, I'm a taken man. However, the big bad booty daddy loves to always get freaky. And that's why when Bobby Eaton called me and said, hey, want to come over here and shut up those pep squeaks, Juventud and Psychosis, I just knew I had a chance to get freaky again. Because those two bums already lost to me years ago. I left WCW because there was no one left that Big Papa Pump hadn't beaten. I took Hovey's mask, I had Psychosis's masks. They were done. And now they think they can come back here and try to embarrass Bobby Eaton and my friend Booker T? Hell no! The secret weapon is here, and he's the big bad booty daddy. And now that I'm here, those two loser weights, they'll never, ever. And then Juventud comes, and in Psychosis, they come out to the ring. While this is happening, Bobby Eaton and Booker T managed to meander their way over to the ring because Scott Steiner came out hot and heavy. He sprinted down the ring. He was excited. Psychosis and Juventud, they go, hey, we're not here tonight to fight. All right, we came here tonight to throw down a challenge. You see, this has made, Juventud says, this has really made me think about my past. My past demons are coming back to bite me, and it's even more apparent now. I stand here looking across the ring against a man who tried to end my career, and a man who put my friend Psychosis on the shelf for a while. Scott Booker T, Bobby Eaton, you may have beat me in Psychosis and Thunder, a tag team match. But I'm challenging you both to a rematch. But not just any rematch. You two, Scott Steiner and Booker T, taking on Psychosis and Juventud Guerrera inside Hell's Kitchen. And everyone loses it. And he says, now, Bobby, I already know what you're going to say, so shut up, you senile old man. You're going to say, what's in it for the Empire? We've already beaten you handedly. Listen, you've beaten me down. You took out my friend Super Crazy. You tried to end my career. There's one thing you haven't tried to take from me. And he holds up the money and the bank briefcase. He says, I've got this briefcase that allows a world championship at any time, and I know the Eaton Empire would love to get their hands on it. So I'll tell you what. At the next pay-per-view at Great American Bash, you can book it now, everybody. It's going to be Scott Steiner and Booker T taking on Juventud and Psychosis inside Hell's Kitchen. And if I lose, I will surrender my money in the bank briefcase to the Eaton Empire. And everybody, huge stakes, huge match. Scott Steiner, he says, give us 1 second. And he grabs Booker T and he grabs Bobby Eaton and they have a huddle. And Scott Steiner says, we're going to kick your ass. And Justin, it's made official. Booker T, Scott Steiner, Juventud, Psychosis, Hell's Kitchen with Money in the Bank at stake.
Okay. All right.
Huge.
Yeah. Oh, my.
Here we go, Justin. We have here, of course, Shawn Michaels and Kendo Kashin were able to get the win at the last pay-per-view. And Shawn Michaels let that win go to his head. Yeah, he went pure Karate Kid type Cobra Kai levels of dojo brand warfare, basically. He recruited Ahmed to the ranks. A man who has been trying to rejuvenate his career, get back in the win streak, and win himself another tag team championship. Because, of course, he's a multiple-time tag team champion with multiple partners. He called himself, Shawn Michaels called him the tag team specialist. And he said, and so Shawn Michaels, he went to an academy workout. And he super kicked Vader, took Vader out, and then, because Samoa Joe was gone around this time, he told Lash LaRue and Matt Cross that if they really wanted to improve their careers, they could come be under the mentorship of Shawn Michaels. And Matt Cross and Lash LaRue told him to go to hell. Justin, they had themselves a big tag team match. Matt Cross and Lash LaRue versus Kendo Kashin and Ahmed. Unfortunately, Kendo Kashin was able to get the victory. But Justin, that brought us to this pay-per-view because Ken Shamrock wanted payback on not only Shawn Michaels taking out his friend Vader, but trying to turn his students against him. Ken Shamrock versus Shawn Michaels, 1-on-1 tonight. What do you got?
Shawn Michaels. Ken Shamrock hasn't won a meaningful match on a pay-per-view in a long time, so Shawn will win.
Well, no, I lied to you. Ken Shamrock actually won at the pay-per-view last week. It was because Shawn Michaels was mad he took the pin.
He won at the pay-per-view last month.
Yeah, it was a tag team match. It was the FBI versus the Academy versus Shawn Michaels and Kendo Kashin.
Yeah, I'm still going Shawn.
Regardless, and with a 99, and about that sensational wrestling and fantastic heat, Shawn Michaels defeats Ken Shamrock in 2003 with Sweet Chin Music, following a run-in and interference from Matt Cross. One of the students took the bait. They bit the apple. They were able to let that bastard Shawn Michaels get in his ear, Justin. As we move on to the next segment, we see Shawn Michaels, Ahmed, Kendo Kashin, and Matt Cross standing tall. Justin, we have 6-man titles. The trios belts are on the line. I keep going back and forth on what they're called. The trios belts, they're on the line. Wicked taking on the Paul Heyman guys. This was supposed to be Suzuki, Big Daddy V, and RVD, but of course they got suspended. Wicked are in the ring. Paul Heyman comes out with Minoru Suzuki and Big Daddy V, and he goes, now it would appear that the Paul Heyman guys are a little outgunned, outmanned, and outnumbered. However, when you are one of the greatest wrestling minds in the world, and when you have people blowing up your phone trying to be under the mentorship of the Paul Heyman guys, it's very easy for you to find people who are willing to step in at the last minute. Do me a favor.
I got a question, Chad. Where the fuck's Benoit?
Yeah. Oh, on the Monday Nitro after that big 5-on-5 match, Paul Heyman dubbed Chris Benoit a weak link, blamed him for the loss, and kicked him out of the Paul Heyman guys.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know. I just was like, why don't I just have Benoit on this?
That's a very fair criticism, and if you didn't know that, you would wonder. So thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, of course.
But he says, so I went through my phone and I found one person in particular who my client Minoru Suzuki has a great friendship for. From his home, from all the way back in Japan. You know, they grew up together. They know each other so well. Stepping in tonight, representing the Paul Heyman guys. A man who has already gotten one victory in Clash of Champions history, Masahiro Chono.
It would be Slamboree technically, but...
And here we go! Minoru Suzuki, Masahiro Chono, who has debuted on WCW, and Big Daddy V versus The Wicked, and about to have good heat and decent wrestling. Minoru Suzuki, Chono, and Big Daddy V defeat The Wicked when Chono submitted Mil Muertes with an STF. The Paul Heyman guys win the WCW Trios titles.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a debut, Chono.
Yeah, I mean, the 71 is not that hell of a debut, but I will.
Won a title on his first match.
True. Yeah, a heel versus heel group is not, not ideal. But then I never thought the Wicked. I was really hoping the Wicked. I thought the payoff for the Wicked would be like a young upstart, young face group. But I mean, hey, now they're beatable. Now they've shown that they're beatable. I mean, just put a group together of guys that have won over on Big Daddy V clean. Put Finley, Rey Mysterio, and another guy together, and they'll beat the Suzuki Gun or whatever their fucking name is. Yeah. That's audible for RVD, I guess. Chono, who has been in politics for 2 years and hasn't wrestled in 2 years.
And now he's back. He's a champion.
Cool. First match in wins a belt. That sounds WCW-like.
So, the Paul Heyman guys, they're walking down the ramp, and they stop at the entrance ramp for their other Paul Heyman guy, fellow brother, Raven.
You mean Raven couldn't have just been in the fucking match?
Well, he's wrestling Rey Mysterio for the world title. Justin didn't even let me finish before rudely interrupting.
Of course.
Raven continued his big feud with Rey Mysterio. Of course, Rey was able. Rey's team won big 5-on-5 match, and Raven came out and he said, "Now that that's out of the way, I can get my rematch for the world title." And Raven was, he told Rey Mysterio that. Ever since you've been here, Rey, you've always been a fan favorite. Everyone's loved you. But Rey, up until very recently, every time you had an opportunity to win the big one, you just couldn't do it. Raven, I'm Mr. Big Time. All right, I am one of the best world champions of all time. And ever since I've linked back up with Paul Heyman, I'm starting to feel like my old violent self, and that came to reality when Raven was able to attack Rey Mysterio, and to the point to where he busted Rey Mysterio open, steel chair, and then beat. And, like, it was one of those like beatdowns, Justin, where they had to bring in the medical team to like help Rey Mysterio. He was beaten so badly. Rey Mysterio then told Raven, you know what, you can beat me down, you can bloody me, you can do whatever you want. At the end of the day, I'm the world heavyweight champion, and the Rey Mysterio that everyone's known in the past is not the same Rey Mysterio who stands in this ring. I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm faster, I'm better. And Raven, I'm gonna prove it at Clash of Champions. You think you can take me down? No matter how hard you hit me, I'll always get back up for these people. Raven versus Rey Mysterio for the World Heavyweight Championship. Justin, who do you have?
Rey Mysterio. Yeah, Rey Mysterio. Yeah.
Oh, that was the right call, because in a sensational wrestling and fantastic heat, Rey Mysterio defeats Raven in 2019 with a springboard hurricanrana and makes defense number 3 of the World Heavyweight title.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a nice we're gonna have a Rob Van Dam little thing here, but he of course is suspended, so we're not now.
Oh well, if he's anything like Chono, his first match back, he'll win a belt too. So, get it? Yeah. Just again, I mean, Raven's been good and all, but again, this is a world title match against one of the pillars of WCW. I don't feel like enough's been done.
I think both of these men could be pillars of WCW.
True, but Raven did have a fall off for a good chunk of period, and Rey, I feel like, has been at the top of the card for years now. Raven was a year of him doing Flock stuff and doing Owen Hart stuff, which kind of ruined both their runs, to be honest.
Yeah, the tag team with him and Owen Hart was a good idea on paper. I mean, 2 fantastic athletes. Not good in execution.
No.
He's on the up and up and trying to get back to the Raven of old, and he came up a little short against Rey Mysterio here tonight.
Is that our co-main? We're on time crunch mode now.
Co-main.
We're an hour and we're about an hour and a half in, Chad.
We're done here.
You have exhausted me.
So our final match,
she's
the main
here.
event, CM Punk versus The Rock, and of course Joey Mercury has came to the aid of The Rock.
Of course,
in the weeks building up to this. Even having World's Greatest Tag Team versus Rock and Joey Mercury in a tag team match on a Thunder, where The Rock, of course, was victorious. But CM Punk, Charlie Haas, and Shelton Benjamin, the numbers game was too much for The Rock and Joey Mercury. After being beaten down after a Thunder, The Rock made a phone call. He said, "Listen, Joey Mercury, I made a phone call for a man to help me who you two have a rocky relationship with, to say the least. You fought with each other. You fought against each other. Tonight I need you to put your differences aside for the good of The Rock." And Joey Mercury agrees, and Rikishi joined the mix, Justin. And we had a Rock, Joey Mercury, and Rikishi 6-man, where Rikishi, in his debut on Thunder, got injured and is not cleared to.
Oh, I did not know that. That's so fucking funny.
Yeah. Which is a bummer. Which is a bummer, to say the least.
That's why you don't put their debut matches on TV.
This has been just a verbal feud of these two masters on the microphone. CM Punk called the people's champ. He called the people dumb, and told The Rock that he's had a very impressive run, and nobody's willing to step up and tell The Rock what everybody thinks of him, and he's okay to do that. He called The Rock just a catchphrase. He called The Rock a great professional wrestler, but not the best professional wrestler, because the best professional wrestler is CM Punk. And The Rock told CM Punk that at Clash of Champions, he was going to layeth the smackdown on his candy ass. was more to that, but we're on a time crunch. So CM Punk versus The Rock for the Universal title, Justin. Who do you got?
You can blame Paul Heyman and the Steiner promo for the time crunch. If you want to make a star here tonight, it's Punk. This is the moment where this is the LA Knight Money in the Bank where you give him the rocket and you just send it. Do I think it's going to happen? I feel like you've been afraid of this in the last 6 years of booking this show or this company. You're just afraid of giving that stardom, and because it has burned you in the past. Look at Shannon Moore, did absolutely nothing when you did it. But I think you do. I think Punk wins here. I think this is the win for him. Also, you guys don't want to know how mad I got when he just said, yeah, Rock and Joey Mercury out of nowhere just decided to help The Rock for no, and he's like, yeah, that's a friendship that came out of no. Why? Why was The Rock like, hey, Joey Mercury, I could use your help?
The Rock's been so good to Joey Mercury. Joey wanted to defend The Rock's honor.
And The Rock's like, you just got hired. Who the hell are you? Yeah, that was my only issue with this story. And that's a small fucking me being a little bitch about shit. Yeah, it's got to be Punk, I think. But I think I don't know. I would like for you to put it on Punk. Do I think you do? I don't know.
And an exceptional match. CM Punk took The Rock to his limit, and at one point, people thought CM Punk was going to make The Rock tap out in an Anaconda Vice. He came so close, but The Rock has been on a hell of a run, and that run continues here tonight. He defeats CM Punk and makes defense number 8 of the WCW Universal title.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. That's the moment where you make Punk the ace, like the secondary ace of the company, right there. A loss doesn't do that.
Sure. I know when I want The Rock to win the belt. It's booked, and I'm not changing.
I get that. Oh, I guess it's gonna be Rock and Joey Mercury, baby. Let's go.
The Rock, who, normally this is where we end with The Rock and the people celebrate, but The Rock is not celebrating with the people. The Rock went to battle with CM Punk. Everybody thought, just like you said, Justin, if there was a guy who was going to beat The Rock, it would be the greatest television champion of all time, who has made it his mission to be the best champion WCW has ever seen. CM Punk. Rock defeated CM Punk with a look of swagger and confidence, and also a lot of pain, stands tall with Rikishi and Joey Mercury as we end Clash of Champions. I wonder what this got.
94. Yeah, Rock and Punk didn't do it. I feel that was a 99. I think that's like a 97.
Yeah. If Raven and Rey Mysterio main event, I think that's probably a 99 show.
Yeah, probably.
Or at least an hour. Yeah.
97, 98.
Oh, well, I'll take a 90.
Yeah,
I'm very happy.
Take another loss. Here we go. And another one for the good guy. Yeah, I mean, that was a good show. It was a good show. Let's see. Yeah, that was a good show, Chad. That was one of your better ones. That was one of your better ones.
The Steiner promo had to be long because it was a Steiner shoots. It was a whole angle.
I get that, but God forbid if the Fed ever ran. If the Fed ever ran 20 minutes of promo on a pay-per-view, I'd be turning the pay-per-view off, to be honest.
They did it at Mania when it was Rock, Triple H, Stephanie, and Ronda. I think that was.
And I was not happy. And I was not happy about it. I don't need promos on my pay-per-view. That's the TV. Yeah. I mean, as I said, I had a fucking Stone Cold promo, but that was about 45 seconds long. You probably, yeah. I think this.
We haven't had a Steiner shoot in a long time, right? Anyway, you said what?
I think this format obviously helps you out even more. I think.
Oh, I love this format. I'm able to like book and like take my time and really think about the angles and storylines, and then when we bring it to the table here, I'm able to give you like an actual, I think, a condensed story.
Yeah,
because I'm doing a Scott Steiner promo.
If you ever go back and watch old WCW, there was no recaps. There was no, I started doing it early in like 2000, maybe late 99. I don't think you ever did like recaps of shows until late 2002. So this is what I wanted from you for a long time, and I'm glad it's finally happening because it's allowed you to really showcase your creativity process. And all right, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, we keep talking over each other. I didn't mean to. Go ahead.
Nope, go. No.
I was gonna say I feel like every story is like feels kind of different. The Rey Mysterio Raven story was kind of just an extension of the Paul Heyman Rey Mysterio feud.
That's fine.
Which is fine. Like you said, I think it lets me work my creative muscles, which I wasn't. Which sometimes I struggle with when if I'm not in the right mood set. I think
sometimes it does. It's weird that it is a negative thing sometimes when we don't show TV because I have to somehow believe James Storm's a credible threat without knowing what he actually did. So that's sometimes tough. I think that all boils down to immediately giving James Storm his first pay-per-view program at Title Shot.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's something that I guess needs some work, but that doesn't usually happen that often.
Besides everybody in the Buried, there isn't a lot of like besides Chris Candido and Shane Douglas who just got done fighting for the TV belt, who I think as it stood right now would have been a decent opponent for AJ. So we gotta wait for the next crop of contenders to creep up, and
yeah,
I have them slated. I know who to take on AJ next,
and that's where giving them pay-per-view programs just not for belts comes into and that's just something hard to do on a pay-per-view all about giving people championship shots.
Champions.
But
I had 2 matches that were championships.
Yeah, and 1 title on the pre-show. So I mean, which title do we not respect here in WCW?
I felt like the bunkhouse brawl was very 24/7-esque, of course, but that definitely pre-show worthy match. It was either the pre-show or it was going to be the opener. But I was running out of time. It was the opener. It was the opener, but I ran out of time, so I had to make it up.
It did just as good as the opener, if that makes you feel any better.
Exactly.
Did better than Beth and fucking Nicole Bass. Hashtag
old ass Hulk Hogan, Twins, and fake NWO.
Yeah, what a fucking. All right, we'll see you. We'll see you for dude. It's June. It'll be Battleground, and the oh god, is it Great American Bash then Bash of the Beach, or is it Bash then Bash?
Great American Bash and then Bash of the Beach.
Bash is July, or the Beach is July. Okay, I can dig that. I never know with those one. I always get those mixed up. Which one comes which?
Oh, for sure. And we already have our first advertised match.
I'm glad.
Booker and Scott Steiner.
I was going to lose my mind if that was on this card, and when it just happened on Thunder, I was going to flip a lid if you just said I'm going to have the rematch 2 days later. Why even have the match in the first place on Thunder? That should have been a pay-per-view match.
I'm going to challenge myself to have this match be the pay-per-view match, and none of them wrestle until then.
That none of them wrestle?
Like each other. Like
no
one wrestles each other.
That's
my goal.
That's something you love doing. You love giving let's say RVD's in the main event program against, 2 other guys. RVD will wrestle every week for you.
I mean, Abyss beat Suzuki and Big Daddy V in the weeks leading up to the show.
Yeah,
those are easily 2 matches you can make a pay-per-view.
That's sometimes you love. Okay, I just got a text. All right,
I'm using it, but I'm using it as the Nitro streak kind of gimmick. That's kind of why I was like, oh, these 2 big matches can happen on a Nitro because it's building up Abyss's singles Nitro streak.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you for. Sorry to cut you off. We're running out of time here. See you for episode. Fuck Cody Rhodes. Boop. Oh, I left it going. I left it going, everybody.